here for the show tonight to interview our special guest. Show highlight the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, boxing, tennis, golf, and racing. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. Tune in for all the news and scores, reporting on the games and so much more. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. I'm Alan, and we're going to have a wonderful Friday night show for you. That's right. Things are going to get started. It is World Series Game 1 tonight, right now, Friday night. You know, there's no better place to be than the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show on a Friday night. That's right. Definitely going to give you guys up to date on what's going to happen in Major League Baseball, World Series, big night. Let's go. Thank you all for joining us here on the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. Always a pleasure to have you guys join in, chime in, and just doing big things. Really appreciate you. It is going to be fantastic. It's going to be awesome. We're going to go ahead and definitely discuss the World Series. Let me go ahead and get these things all squared away for you guys. The live chat is available, so definitely feel free to chime in. It's going to be fantastic. That's right. All right, definitely. So we kick things off by analyzing, of course, the World Series that is going on right now. In fact, without further ado, let me go ahead and give you guys the updated score. And let's see here. And the nice thing is, let me just make sure nothing has changed right before I came on. Let me take a look here. Wow, the Blue Jays are fighting back. 2-2, already tied it. It was 2-0. Now it's 2-2. And it's going to be a series. So we're going to discuss that right now. In fact, what do teams need to do in order to secure wins? Well, if you're the Blue Jays, you're the underdogs. You don't have the payroll that the Dodgers do have. You have to take advantage of every single opportunity. You have to beat them in small ball. You have to make pitches. You have to keep Ohtani and Betts not only off as far as the plate, being disciplined with them. You have to know the scouting report and stick to that, but you have to keep those two off the bases. If you do that, that is a big part of the offense. You also have to limit Freddie Freeman. You can't let him go crazy. Keep him off balance. And if you're able to pitch effectively with those three, you have a very good shot if you're the Blue Jays to win this series, because you do have some pop on your lineup. You have Springer, who definitely has the postseason experience. And there's something about the Blue Jays in the World Series. You know, shout out to Joe Carter. Man, I had the pleasure of interviewing Joe Carter. He said he's milked a World Series home run for 32 years. That is his words, not mine. You could check out that interview right there on YouTube and check it out at AlanAlfordSportsTalkShow.com. But yes, there's something about the Blue Jays in the postseason. So you definitely have a shot to win. I definitely am still going to go with my prediction that I do feel as if the Dodgers are going to win this series. The Dodgers do what they're supposed to do. They should be able to go ahead and scratch and claw and win this series. They have the better starting lineup. They have the better pitching. But when it comes to series like this, it's not the best team that wins. It's the team that plays the best at the time wins. And that's what the Blue Jays need to do. They have to be the best team right now in order for them to go ahead and beat the Dodgers, which I don't think it's impossible. The Blue Jays have been playing fantastic. So have the Dodgers, but you have to beat the Dodgers at their own game. Small ball, pitching, defense, and timely hitting. You got to bring men on. You got to bring them home. You got to play small ball. And if you can do that, and you're the Blue Jays, you can go ahead and upset the Dodgers. Still sticking with my prediction. I had the prediction of the Dodgers before the season started, during the season, during the postseason. I've said the Dodgers. However, the way that the Blue Jays have been playing, they could win this series. Still sticking with the Dodgers to win, but I could see them winning the series. Another thing that I think that they have an advantage on is the fact that one thing that I definitely do think they have an advantage as far as the Blue Jays is that the Dodgers kind of did really well the series before. It's kind of hard when you're playing postseason for you to follow up offensive juggernaut performances back to back to back. It kind of levels itself out, and then that's where the Blue Jays may be catching them at the right time. What do you think about the yeses? Daffafly 21-24. What do you think about the Vikings versus Chargers game last night? Very, very good question. I think about time, but I think the Chargers are starting to come around. I definitely do think they're starting to. What I love is definitely their poise. And the nice thing about what they did last night is that they played like a team, an offensive team. Justin Herbert, for the first, I would say, last game and this game, he started to kind of come out of the zone. He started to make his spots. The main thing about the Chargers, Justin Herbert doesn't have to be the guy. He just has to be mobile from time to time and get the ball to his playmakers. He actually has a lot of playmakers on his team. I think with Justin Herbert, he feels as if he's got to do it all. You don't. You have very good receivers. You have playmakers on your team. I love the running back. I thought the Chargers did outstanding. They have playmakers on the team. You just got to scramble like he did and get the ball to your playmakers. If you're able to do that, you can do great things. I think the Vikings on the other side are starting to regress a bit. They didn't look too great against the Eagles. Their offense looked anemic against the Chargers. I still think the Chargers were a better team, but I do think the Vikings have definitely regressed, and they're not. Carson Wentz, I'd be surprised if he continues to be the quarterback for that team. He's just, it's not that he's playing terrible, but he's definitely not playing great, is the way I would put him. And if you're in that middle of the zone, middle of the road, sometimes a little bit better than average, most of the times for him it was worse than average, you're liable to get benched in the NFL. And I think that's what's going to happen next in the Vikings. Yeah, the Vikings shouldn't have let Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold walk. I agree. It is showing up there. Carson Wentz is he's just not getting it done. You have the arguably the best wide receiver in the league on your team, and he's been open. It's just Carson Wentz. He just takes too many sacks. He's just overthrowing guys. He missed a lot of open guys, a lot of targets, and I think as a wide receiver, you got to be frustrated. So, yeah, I definitely do think the Vikings are going the opposite direction. They shouldn't have let Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold walk. I agree. I agree. Carson Wentz is not better than either one of those two gentlemen, and it's showing. Quarterback play in the NFL is big time, and if the Vikings are going the opposite direction. You have a great running back. It's just when you don't get the ball to your playmakers, that's what happens. And definitely, I love what the Chargers are doing great. I felt bad because I actually had Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback, but I said, hey, he did all right last game, pretty good. But I said, let me sit McConkey down because let me not put all my eggs in one basket. And man, McConkey had a great game. I do have Ibuka as my other guy, but I feel like Ibuka, I wouldn't be surprised right now if he does okay, not great. Not that it's his fault, but because Mike Evans is now down, I feel like he's going to get a lot of double teams. Being a Mecca, he's going to probably see a lot of double teams now. So we'll see. He was even getting doubled a lot against the Lions. So we'll see. But yeah, great game for the Chargers. Outstanding. Let me give you guys an update on the baseball right here. And then who do you guys want? I know who James Turillo wants to win. That's definitely one of our great network providers here. And the thing about it is he's a big Dodgers fan, so we all know he wants to win. Still the top of the fifth, 2-2. This is really anybody's game. The World Series, anybody's game. So, yes. And then let's see here. On the flip side, let me get you also. Yes, so who will come out on top? I still think the Dodgers are going to come out on top and win the series, but the Blue Jays do have a chance to win this series as well. But I am picking the Dodgers to win the series. And let's switch gears here and dive into more football. We'll talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers loss to the Lions. That was Monday Night Football game. It's awesome that the Bucs are now starting to get Monday Night Football games on a regular. I think that's awesome. Over the last few seasons, it's been that way, and it should have been a more competitive game. The Bucs definitely for this game, I wouldn't say they entirely regress. I don't think they're in the same situation as the Vikings, but I would say it was a very big wake-up call for the Bucs. I think the Bucs were starting to believe the hype a bit. I think, in my opinion, they were doing great, but I do feel as if they were getting overhyped. Okay, Baker's doing great things and everything like that, but if you look at it, prior to the injury, of course, Mike Evans has really been anemic this season. Had he not been injured this last game on Monday night, and let's say he ended the game with 50 or 60 yards, he would have been way, way behind his average of 1,000 yards per season. Way behind. I know he's been injured, but even in games he's played, most of the targets have went to Emeka. Even if he didn't complete with Emeka Buka, most of the targets you could tell are going to Emeka. And, Mike Evans doesn't get as much, you could tell that prior to the injury, you could tell that age, the wear and tear is starting to add up on Mike. It is, because when he plays now, he's starting to play like a hobble veteran. Like, he'll basically come in for a play and then he's doing this. He wants to get subbed. He's doing this. He wants to get subbed. You could tell that old man River is starting to come into play and be a big factor with Mike. Having said this, I'm going to talk more about Mike in a moment, but the Bucs defense, especially their pass defense. Let me start with that. Their pass defense was anemic Monday Night Football. I was shocked. How do you let a guy as great, who has as many yards per catch, yards after catch, yards after catch. Like Amon St. Brown, how do you give him that much space as a defense? Literally, had 3-4 yards of space. He would catch the ball around the first down marker, and if he would break a tackle, he would get a couple more yards, but he would basically catch him 10 yards a clip. And nobody would touch him until after he got like the first down. It was paper thin defense. And I get you're playing zone, but that's just way too much space you're giving Amon St. Brown. Like, this is a playmaker. You know that. You can't give him that much space. What the Bucs needed to do, maybe they didn't want to show everything because it's early in the year against an opponent that they might see again. I get it. But you're going to have to bump Amon St. Brown off the route. You're going to have to bump him within the 5 yards. Absolutely. You cannot let him play zone defense and get that much free space. It was anemic, their defense. Now, granted, they made a couple of nice plays at the most opportune times. I'm talking about the Bucs. But if you don't make those plays, this game is a flat-out blowout. It is a flat-out blowout because the Lions were going up and down the field, up and down the field. The first time they went for 4th and 2, I wouldn't call it the best of defense, but I'm going to give the defense credit. But what ended up happening is on that 4th down, the defender was beat. But what happened was Jared Goff overthrew the target. So they don't score that drive, which could have been, let's say they got the field goal, 10 points. The next time they get the ball, they go all the way down the field. But as they get closer, Yaya Diaby makes a fantastic defensive play. And what does he do? He goes ahead and strips the ball, gets that fumble, and recovers it. And 95 recovers it right to him. I'm gonna show you that play call. But yeah, that's the thing. So that was a great opportune time. But again, the defense was paper thin. They were just driving down just like there's no tomorrow. Yes. And the Bucs, they were, they were just not playing great defense at all. In fact, let me show that to you. Yes, here it is. It's in the backfield. It's a fumble ball on the ground. Bucs recover it. Bucs recover it. Yes, Bucs recover it. There you go. Bucs recover it. Strip sack of Jared Goff, and the Bucs recover it. Let's go. Let's go, Bucs. Let's go. Strip sack. Yeah, see, strip sack, and that's the thing. It was one of those things where, let me show you. And then when I'm talking about where they just gave him too much space, here we go. Saligro. If I'm messing that up, Salarigo. There you go. Pass is complete. We're going to have a touchdown here. Not touched at all. Ahmad St. Brown, touchdown, 20-yard pass. 6-0 already. 6-0 already. I'll get the score updated for you guys. Man, out the gates already. That's unbelievable right there. Yeah, untouched. Soft defense. And that's the thing, that's what the Bucs did all night. The Lions were getting everything offensively they wanted. I called the game with the liveassist.com. Props to Assist Sports. They were getting everything they wanted. They were going up and down the field. So if Dan Campbell gets the field goal and it's 10 points, Yaya Diaby doesn't get that fumble, and then we go ahead and recover the ball by 95. That doesn't happen. They go down and score another touchdown. They were just going up and down the field. And then Let me show you what happened with the running back. Let me get to the running back. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Minute 52 left. The Bucs taking over at the 45-yard line. Come on, let's go, Baker. Cade Otton is intercepted. Intercepted. So they're at the 22-yard line, 1st and 10. Hand off it to Gibbs right up the middle. He's gone. He's gone. It's a touchdown. He's gone. They ain't going to catch him. He's gone. Touchdown. Touchdown, Lions. Gibbs for like an 80-yard gain. Gibbs goes all the way down the middle. Oh, my goodness. No, not touched. All the way down the middle. All the way up the middle. I'll get this. I said he's gone. After he got 20 yards on that play, 20 yards, 20 yards into that play, I said he's gone. Because nobody touched him within 20 yards. He was just too fast, too electric. I was like, he's gone. Literally, when he got 20 yards on a 78-yard official run to the house, and he was untouched all the way to the end zone. I mean, the defense was just paper thin for the Bucs. That was a shocking thing to me. Was like, how do you expect to win a game when your run defense is one of the things that used to be spot on. You let him run up the middle. Jahmyr Gibbs had a big night. Amon St. Brown. If you was fantasy football and you had those two players, one or two or each one, you did fantastic. But yeah, it was just paper thin defense. Props to Duffa Clan 24-28, all the way from Lions fan here from Detroit. That's awesome. Yeah, it's just the Lions were getting everything they wanted. And the game, to me, could have easily been a blowout. Just a couple of things that went the Bucs' way. If it didn't go their way, or if it went somewhat their way, it would have been a blowout. It would have been a flat-out blowout. So what the Bucs need to do is they need to shore up their defense. I don't know if they were just not trying to play to their very best because they're playing an opponent they might see again. I'll go with that. But they definitely need to shore up some things on the defensive end. Now, having said that, where was some positivity? The Bucs, I'm loving this about the Bucs. The Bucs are not blitzing on 2 out of 3 downs. They're not blitzing all the time. They're using the blitz very strategic and sporadically. That's the best time to use the blitz, is when the opponent doesn't know it's coming, doesn't expect it, and you surprise them with a blitz. The Bucs were just blitz happy, and offenses were figuring that out. And if everybody knows you're doing a blitz, they're going to counter that with a screen pass or getting the ball out quicker. And that's what was happening. The Bucs were getting beat on the blitz. Now I say I love what they're doing with the blitz. They're doing it sporadically. They're not doing it so it's predictable. Perfect. They got that down packed. They took my advice. So that was very good. Yaya Diaby with the fumble. 95 recovers it. That was great. And I think the only other good thing is that since they were playing a team like the Lions that were very good defensively by punching the ball out, almost every defender from the Lions is basically trained to try to punch the ball out. The good news is, if by them playing an opponent like the Lions with the potency to keep trying to punch the ball out, the next game the Bucs should do even better and better after that, because now teams are trying to punch the ball out. You got to secure the rock. So the Bucs, definitely really a tough night for the Bucs. They lost Mike Evans too. And the crazy thing on that play is I saw it. I even said he probably has a concussion. Come to find out, he has a broken collarbone, which he had concussion-like symptoms on the field too. So he's dealing with two things: collarbone, which is right up here, which is extremely painful. Shout out to Dr. Marcus Floyd. He had a collarbone, unfortunately, cracked and repaired, but after he got it repaired, that pretty much ended his, NFL career. I'm gonna get into Mike Evans in a moment, but yeah, that's a painful injury. Plus, I feel like he had a concussion landing on the ground. But yeah, Mike is starting to get a bit older. Where does we go from here? Well, if Mike does come back this season, which I doubt, I just as you get it to Mike's age, the healing process is not as fast. I think Mike Evans should look to play one more season after 2026, 2027 season is definitely, in my opinion, going to be Mike's last. I feel like the last season, though, what happens is it is great because you get a send off that year. However, you also realize usually when you're Mike and you get injured, you have a major injury, come back for one more season. What historically usually happens is it's usually your last season, but it usually is your last season for a good reason. You start really thinking to yourself, man, it's good I'm retired, because usually on that last season, your stats usually wane and get cut a lot because you're not as focused on the game because you have all the distractions, teams are giving you gifts, things of that nature. But also, you realize it's a young man's game. Mike Evans, as I said, that's no joke. Before the injury, he run one route, and he's doing that. He wants to get subbed. And if he catch a 25-yard bomb or something he has to actually run out to go catch, he doing that sub. So that's the difference with Mike Evans now versus a couple seasons ago. Mikey he was just trying to pad those stats. Not pad it like that's all he was looking for. He was going to wring that towel dry. You don't see that now. So, yes, I do think you will see Mike Evans again, but I think it's going to be a tough season the next time he comes out there, just because you get old quick in the NFL. He's already being replaced, quote unquote, on the targets with Emeka coming back from this type of injury. You're going to be a year older. I just think it's a year to get your send off, but I definitely do think one of the problems with that send off year, it usually doesn't bode well for the player in a statistic, because then you start realizing, man, it's a good thing I am retiring. So yeah. So Mike Evans, you'll see him again, but I definitely do think when you do see him, cherish it, because his time as an NFL wide receiver is unfortunately coming to an end. That's just the harsh reality of the game and the league and where he's been the last few seasons. And it's definitely a future Hall of Famer. If he doesn't even come back, he is a future Hall of Famer. Anytime you tie Jerry Rice in anything, you're doing great. And if he was on the field more and maybe getting more opportunities with the targets, albeit Emeka coming in, I think he would have had a shot to break Jerry Rice's record. Now it's not going to happen. It's a wrap. It's the most he's going to do is tie Jerry Rice with that 1,000 consecutive seasons. So, and I don't think if he did play next year after being held up, I don't believe he's going to get 1,000 yards again. In my view, if he does come back healthy, I just don't see it. He doesn't play enough on the field enough. He gets subbed a lot, and as great as Mike Evans is, he does drop quite a few balls. So when your targets are down and you're dropping a few more than you should, guess what? You're not going to get as many targets. They're going to give it to someone else. So Mike will be back. He definitely does his charitable work. Mike Evans Foundation. Guys, check it out. But I just do think that, and this coming in really fast for Mike Evans, unfortunately. And I was saying this before this game. So we're in the top of the sixth, 2-2, tied up. This is going to be one heck of a series there. So let me give you the predictions for this week. What changes do the Bucs need to make? They need to definitely work on their defense. They need to get back to the run defense they had before, and definitely with their pass defense. You cannot give Amon St. Brown that much cushion zone defense. And not only were you playing zone, you were like, let him get whatever he wanted. They won't win with that defense. They got to shore that up. And before I give you the predictions, let's talk about the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny. You know what? Props first and foremost to the NFL for sticking with their guns and their decision and said, nah, like it or love it, loathe it or hate it, love it or whatever, we're sticking with our choice and our decision with Bad Bunny. That to me was major boss, because regardless of how you feel about Bad Bunny performing, the fact that they took Bad Bunny's back and said, nope, we know you're going to be unhappy, but we're still going forward. Major props for the NFL for that. Having said that, I feel as if people are being unfair and dissing Bad Bunny for being the choice. You know, at the end of the day, the NFL agreed to his resume and him playing the music. And look, the first game of the season was in Brazil. You had a halftime performance, and the girl didn't speak one. She said, hi, Brazil. You know, that was it in English. Everything was in Spanish. And that's the thing, he's earned that right. He's earned that right. And the thing about it is, when you earn something and somebody tries to diss you for it, I think a lot of people are taking a dig at Bad Bunny, but it's like secondhand dissing, meaning the league agreed to it. And as you say, they stand behind it. So you can't get it all mad at Bad Bunny. He's an artist. He's entitled to perform the music he chooses. You can do jazz. You can do country, R&B, rap. You know, you could do Spanish. You could do English. And truth be told, the man does speak English, but he raps in Spanish. You know, he's allowed to have his own genre, and that's his thing. So people dissing Bad Bunny, to me, is displacing their frustration and anger onto Bad Bunny. He had nothing to do with it. The NFL had this opportunity. I feel as if they probably approached him with it, said, hey, we're interested in having you do the Super Bowl. Are you interested in doing it? And you go from there. And truth be told, the American did have a chance. It has been reported by a few outlets that Taylor Swift was indeed, according to some outlets, according to the research, she indeed was offered before Bad Bunny to go ahead and be the halftime performer. However, it is also alleged that when it happened with Taylor Swift was she wanted to get paid. She wanted that bread. I know she's a billionaire, but she was like, you know what? You the NFL. You got to give me that bread for me to perform at halftime. Taylor Swift, allegedly, that's what happened. And they were like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And I agree with the NFL on that too. You cannot buy that type of advertising you get by performing at the Super Bowl. Any artist. So they were like, no, we're not going to pay you. It's been well documented, and it's right there on Google. Do NFL Super Bowl performers get paid? The answer is no, and it's been like that for years, decades. No, you don't get paid to perform at the Super Bowl. However, some of your production costs are covered. Not all, some of it. For example, if Bad Bunny brings in his staff, dancers, and all of that, that's called a production cost. Those people would normally get paid through the production company. The NFL will write them directly a check, not you, and they would get paid. the workers, some production costs they cover. They don't go into all the details of how much, but they do cover some of your production costs, but you don't get paid for it. You cannot buy that type of advertisement when you perform at the Super Bowl. That is an outstanding opportunity. And let's say Bad Bunny solicited them and they came back with, yes, we'll give you an opportunity. If you're Bad Bunny, would you say no? Absolutely not. So props to Bad Bunny. He's already got a fan in me because, hey, you got to perform in a Super Bowl, whereas other artists don't even get the chance. That's a mega win for Bad Bunny. So we will see how that plays itself out. But yes, people need to stop displacing their frustration on Bad Bunny. He is an artist and allowed to perform the music he is. And you cannot, to me, give constant, how do I say it? Racial undertones is what I'm feeling people are giving Bad Bunny. Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to perform. This is Danica Patrick speaking. That's what she said. You shouldn't be allowed to be performed in the Super Bowl unless you speak English. Translation: if you don't speak the same thing I do, then you shouldn't be allowed to perform here in the Super Bowl. Well, there's a lot of Americans who don't speak English. There's a lot of foreigners. That's what America is based on. That you can come to our country, no experience, no nothing. And if you apply yourself and you work hard and you're willing to dedicate yourself to it, guess what? You can make it. That's what America's built on. So to you to say that only people speak English, the first game of the NFL season started in Brazil. The entertainer spoke, "Hi, everybody from Brazil." She did not speak English, even though I'm sure she could. And Bad Bunny can speak English. He is an American that's, Puerto Rican who decides to be a rapper. That's what he's allowed to do. And Carol G, she performed right there in Sao Paulo. She in Brazil. It was all Spanish. It was outstanding. Did anybody walk up and walk away? Get up and walk away? No. So to me, it's hypocritical. And, Eric Dickerson took a shot at him too. It's not Bad Bunny's fault. And yes, this is America. What's wrong with somebody who speaks Spanish performing? Justin Bieber has a song, Despacito, in Spanish. Beyonce has a song in Spanish. Okay, you're going to see a Super Bowl and he raps in Spanish. That's his genre. There's nothing wrong with him performing at the Super Bowl. That's who the NFL chose. You should be giving him props that he's going to do it. It's not easy to perform in a Super Bowl. Think about it. Michael Jackson, may rest in peace, perform the Super Bowl. Prince, may he rest in peace, perform. Whitney Houston, may she rest in peace. All have performed at Super Bowl. Now, granted, it was the national anthem for Whitney Houston. May she rest in peace. But yeah, incredible opportunity. And guess what? The NFL may not be paying Bad Bunny, but I guarantee he does a great job, which I fully anticipate he will. Guess what? You have millions of people who know who you are now. Millions. And guess what? Your record sales are going to go up. See, this is where I feel as if Taylor should have kind of used her business sense. Michael Jackson didn't get paid. Prince didn't get paid. Beyonce both times. But guess what? Your download screams are going to go viral. And everybody, hundreds of millions of people are going to know who you are. Let's say if they didn't know who you are, if they were on the fence about you, you get to right the ship. And yes, it is an extraordinary achievement to perform in the Super Bowl. And if I was Bad Bunny, I'd be proud and happy too. Forget the haters. I'm going to be enjoying the halftime show. And yes, Mike Evans will return. Let me give you guys an update on the score here. Yeah, Carol G, she performed. First game of the season. People are just, this is what it is. When you scratch the surface, you get a chance to see some racial undertones. And Bad Bunny being a selection, you could clearly see it. At least I could clearly see it too. I mean, they shouldn't be loud because they don't speak English. They should be banned. Basically, that's a very ethnocentric approach to culture. Ethnocentric means you think you're the best, your culture is the most talented and the best. Yes, America has some very, very great things about it, but like anything, there's some pros and some cons. And yes, there's nothing wrong with somebody performing the Super Bowl that speaks Spanish. Okay. Spanish is, in most cases in high school, the second language. There's nothing wrong with that. And you shouldn't offend the guy because you're unhappy with the NFL. He is an artist who has his own genre. And they sorted him, it seemed like, more than he sorted them. So props to Bad Bunny. He got this. Let me see what else we got going on here. Okay, yes. Appreciate you guys chiming in. You guys are fantastic. Definitely don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Alan Alford. See our website, AlanAlfordSportsTalkShow.com. And definitely Instagram is at Alan Alford. Facebook, Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. If you type in Alan Alford, AlanAlford, you will find me. I'm on X too, Alan Alford. So yes, that's the beautiful thing, is not hard to find me. Speaking of hard to find, this Sunday, if you are thinking about joining UFL, you better hurry and get submitted quick, because this Sunday is the Orlando Showcase. I'm going to be a game time decision. I know I've been to the Orlando Showcase the last 2 years, but I do have some things that do have to be attended to on Sunday. So I would say if I'm a player, it's questionable, but more than likely it's doubtful. I would put it like that. I put my status as doubtful for Sunday night, Sunday in the morning, covering the Orlando Showcase. I just say it's doubtful because I have quite a few things to catch up on this weekend, and I need to save my wear and tear on the Orlando season. I can't, wasting an opportunity with other things. So it's not that it's a waste opportunity, but I would say I'm doubtful to actually appear at the Orlando Showcase. So I would rank it as doubtful as of now. Things are subject to change, but right now that's where we're at. Yes. And let me go ahead, and we're going to discuss the UFL in just a moment. Going to go ahead and take a little quick break here. I'm going to be right back here on the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. You guys are the best. Give me one moment here. We're going to go ahead and get you all squared away. Here we go. All right, guys. So I will see you in a few. Let me go ahead and do something real quick. Let's play this music here, and I'll talk about the music too in a few moments. Well, man, Sam School of Songs. That's the man. right. We're back here on the Alford Sports Talk Show for sure. Thank you so much. So right now, things are looking good if you're a Blue Jays fan. The base are loaded, no outs. A run scored right now, bottom of the sixth. So it's 3-2 Blue Jays. I told you the Blue Jays are electric in October. Yes, that's what the Blue Jays need to do. Keep applying pressure to the Dodgers. I forgot to mention, do not swing at balls outside of the zone. Make them throw you strikes. Blue Jays can win the series. I really do think so. Still sticking with my Dodgers, kind of like half-heartedly, because I predicted them at the beginning of the season. I'm sticking with it. But I do think the Blue Jays could win this series. Absolutely. 3-2, bottom of the sixth. So, yes, let me make sure that I discussed everything. Yes, the UFL showcase. Okay. Should the UFL update all team uniforms or just the new markets? A very, very good question. Let me make sure there's no change in the game. Okay. Let me just take a look here. Let me see here. Okay. I know I did see this where a lot of people did want to keep, particularly the Stallions and the DC Defenders. They wanted to keep their uniforms, especially the Stallions. Don't touch it. They love it. They says perfection. You can't mess up perfection. Based on what they're saying is new uniforms for all teams. While some teams like the Stallions and DC Defenders may keep their current uniform, reports indicate all 8 teams will receive new designs for 2026. That's kind of like counterintuitive to say, the Stallions, DC may keep their current uniforms, but then in the same sentence, you're saying they will receive new designs. Part of the launch, the larger relaunch, new uniforms are a component of a larger 2026 season overhaul, which includes new team markets, rebrands, and changes to player allocation. Uniform concepts are forthcoming. The league has already unveiled new logos for some rebrands, and new uniform designs are expected to be announced in the near future. They're rebranding the UFL for 2026. And if you're rebranding, then yes, it would make sense that you would change the uniform. Yeah, I don't think they're going to change it drastically, but there will be some changes. I also do understand that the uniforms, they have new partnership. So yes, I know that the fans hate to see the uniforms go, but when you starting all over, you rebrand, there's no guarantee that something will just stay the same. More than likely, it's going to change. So the main thing is, if you're the DC Defenders and especially the Stallions, if you're the Stallions, especially the Stallions, be grateful you still have football in your city, because remember, you guys did not reach the goal. I know it was a big time that you did kind of get those, season tickets, but let's call for what it is. As much as I like the Stallion fan base, they were short of the goal, and Mike Rapoli had grace on them and mercy, and that's the reason why the Stallions are back. I think you count your blessings that you're back, and you just tell them, hey, make sure you make it trendy, look it cool. But basing it's a league-wide rebrand, it would make a lot of sense why they would change the uniforms. And we kind of knew this is a possibility because those steep discounts they were giving online right as the season ended during the summer, you knew something was up. So yes, I agree with the rebrand. You're starting off fresh. You're not. Another thing that's different is they're not having the UXFL, XFL type thing conference. XFL, USFL. That's a thing in the past now. So I do agree with the uniforms being changed. Again, be grateful you still have a team in your city, because I'm gonna give my thoughts on this here. Let me just see here. What do you think about the NBA betting scandal? I think it's really ridiculous that those players, esteemed players of who they are, got caught up in some of this stuff. You know, not all money is good money. That's a great saying that Shaq said, because it's true. When you are a situation where you're a multi-millionaire, you're famous, you're rich, you are inherently a target. So people will try to tempt you to get to kind of use you to bolster their situation. And another thing you don't want to get wrapped up in, you don't want to take a money or do it one time for a bookie, because one time and you're doing it all the time. Don't even cross that line. So yes, it is a horrible look on the NBA, because we already know that referees, we've seen what happened with Donahue, and we've seen what happened when you mix gambling with the NBA. Players do not need to gamble on the NBA. They don't need it at all. And in fact, I think players and the league should really, not only should they have a few seminars on managing and budgeting your money and giving you a real life situation where, hey, it's good that you signed this big $30 million contract, but how old are you? 23, 24, 25? If you don't manage this money, you won't even get to 40 and not be broke. You won't even get to 35 and not be broke if you don't manage your money right. They definitely should have some financial seminars, but they also need to have on gambling. Because even if you're smart with your money, but you have an addiction to gambling, you're going to go broke that way too. So I don't feel as if this was an addiction to gambling. This seems like greed, trying to get more money than what you, not being grateful for what you have. And I feel like not only is it greed, it's ego. And it could also lead it to, now you're kind of, it's kind of like that Ghost Rider thing. He wished for good health, but he made a deal with the devil. When you're dealing with gambling, especially with situations where you got a bookie, you doing it once, you're doing it all the time. That's going to be your lifestyle. That's going to be your lifestyle. Giving them inside information. Hey, I'm going to sit this game out. I got something hurt when it's really not. It's terrible for the NBA because it affects the quality and the product on the field. That's the reason why they don't want you betting in baseball. That's the reason why they don't want you betting in football, because it jeopardizes the true integrity of the game. And we've seen this happen. So yes, it's disappointing for the players, the NBA. It's an embarrassment. It's really shameful, because a guy like Chauncey Billups, head coach, you have a lot of clout and you already got money. You got a great career. Don't mess it up by gambling 20, 30,000 and you're making millions. It doesn't make sense. But again, if you take it one time, you're going to be in the pocket all the time. So just don't get involved. Don't do it. Don't gamble, especially when it comes to something like this. All sports, it's just not worth the bet. Now, if you're allowed to go to Vegas and shoot cards, crash, poker there, if that's what you want to do, but you cannot mix business with pleasure with sports. Terrible for the league. really disappointed in the players that's involved. I really felt as if they have enough experience, maturity, dignity in themselves to look the other way. But obviously, the temptation was too great. So I don't think this is an addiction thing. I think this was an ego, pride, and greed thing. So those are my thoughts on the NBA betting scandal. And yes, definitely I agree with the league changing all the team uniforms. I know that some of the, especially Stallions, they don't want to change. But yes, they're doing a full rebrand. And you can't just do a full rebrand and keep the same uniforms, especially that they're doing away with the XFL, USFL conference thing. Yeah, it's a fresh start. And like the Renegades moving to Dallas. So they probably got a nice package deal to do all the uniforms, and they're sticking with that. And I will just say like this to one of my friends, not mention their names, definitely extremely cool. But a very good question came across, and what the situation is, they are in love with one of the teams, let's say, that got cut from the new Mike Rapoli regime. Okay. They still want to support the league. However, they want to support the league basically stating they should have kept my team and they should have never left. This is my team. This is who I support, and I want them. I don't want someone else. I can understand you being passionate with your fans and everything like that. But at the same token, at the end of the day, it's a business. And if you show up with the notion that, hey, you guys messed up, you should get my team back, and that's your way of supporting the league, it's going to come across very disingenuous with this ownership group about 3 or 4 games in. It really is, because you're basically saying, you messed up, you should have kept my team. I'm going to support the league, but you messed up, and I want to support my team. That doesn't come across well. That's basically what you're insinuating you're saying. So when you are going to support the league, you got to support the league through thick and thin, whether you like the uniform, you don't. If things get tough and gruff, you still got to be there and support the team. That is real support. When you're supporting and you're saying at the same token, you basically quote unquote messed up, you should have kept my team, that's being disingenuous. You're not really supporting the league just to support the league. Now it's shifted to you're supporting the league to really promote how bad the league messed up and how you get your team back. So it does come across disingenuous for those who are diehard fans that did lose their team, showing up saying, hey, you messed up. And at UFL is disingenuous. That's my opinion on it. And last but not least, has this third more interest in the league overall? I would say yes and no. It has started up more interest in the league. However, they did also upset a lot of fans too. So it's kind of like it's hard to say if you got ahead, because a lot of the people who do have markets and all that, they're all in. But a lot of markets that don't, they're even more so out. So it's to be determined. I will know within the first 2 or 3 games if there's really a significant change. I would definitely say, though, with this new ownership group, as deep as it is, I feel as if this spring football doesn't work, the UFL doesn't work, they have tried every option to make it work. I wouldn't put it on this ownership group if things went that way. I would just say it's the nature of the beast. It's the NFL and everybody else, not for long league and everybody else. So yes, definitely has this third more interest in the league overall. It's to be determined. It's hard to say. because I just say it's hard to say because you got a lot of new fans, but you also upset a lot of new fans too. So we'll see how the dust settles. And one thing that you could always count on, one thing here is we give you great music throughout the broadcast. And how do we do that? Because of my man, Sam Scola Songs, all the way from Miami. Really appreciate you, Sam Scola Songs and his wife, Mary. All of Sam Scola Songs that you heard here throughout the broadcast are available on YouTube and Spotify. And guess what? We even went up and above and beyond. Got your email, sing along with Sam at gmail.com. That email is for deals, folks. Deals, not spam, deals. You got a deal or an opportunity you think will be fantastic for Sam. That's what that email's for. No spam, please. So we're going to go ahead and ride on out. Definitely, let me show you his other poster there. Sam Scola Songs, the man, the myth, the legend. So, yeah, there he is. Appreciate you, Sam Scola Songs. So, yes, definitely want to thank everybody for chiming in. Really appreciate you. Always, let me give you an updated score on the game. Let's see here. Wow, the Blue Jays broke it open, 11-2, the bottom of the sixth. So I'm saying the Blue Jays are special around October. So having said that, we're gonna roll on out. They got it 11-2, and definitely appreciate you guys joining us here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. Some announcements coming out next week, but definitely really appreciate you. So on behalf of the Alford Sports Talk Show, be blessed, be well, take good care of yourself over the weekend, and definitely ask yourself, what if? If you think about doing something shady, what if? What can happen? Ask yourself, what if, and you'll find out. In most cases, you shouldn't do it. So thank you all for watching another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you so very much. Take care. Have a good weekend, and be blessed.
Show. Let's thank all the fans before we go. It's the end of the show. The Allen Sports Talk Radio Show. Thanking our special guest. Thanking our sponsor. It's the end of the show. Tune in again for next week's show. It's the end of the show. Thanking our host before